Okay, she's on.
Go. We'll get her back another day.
I'm going to make a little adjustment on our timing too here. We're going to cut the timing back a little bit.
I love it.
25 minutes is too long.
Okay.
20 minutes for an opening statement's too long.
Okay.
We're not interviewing for President of the United States
We're
here.
council.
Yeah.
How much time?
Or Supreme Court. We'll go 15 minutes and
You
10.
had 2 hours for an introductory statement.
Oh, so it's like Supreme Court, so we start protesting.
Yeah. Are you going to do that tonight?
Yeah.
And are you the new David?
Just as a reminder, we are on the record.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is this the new David?
Yes, this is Zach Chamberlain. He's been putting the Arts Commission together for me. He's a PSU Master's Program student
Oh, okay.
and just about done.
Yep.
He's
Cool.
working here. He's working for the city of Washougal, and he's working for Gresham? No.
The
What's the other
Portland
one?
Bureau of Emergency Management.
There you go.
All 3 of them at the same time?
And going to school.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Ambitious.
So how do we keep you?
Yes, he's been doing a really good job for us, and all the work that you see here is his.
Oh, well, thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
With top lift off, the next sheet you have should be
Pamela Smith-Ted?
There you go.
Smithstead?
And I was looking. Oh, you're gonna bring up their.
I wasn't going to, but I can if you want me to.
If you don't mind.
No.
I know they were. I read them all. They're just very short blurbs, but.
Yeah, I can do that. Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, let's go fast. See who's coming next.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, we're going down here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pamela, then Miriam,
Miriam.
and Lou,
Lou.
and Lori. Okay, cool, thanks.
And Jan isn't going to make it. I think you saw that email.
Yes, Jean had RSVP'd, and I have not heard from her. So I
Jan,
don't.
okay?
She had a conflict. She'd forgotten a granddaughter's birthday or something.
Huh? That's important.
Yes.
That'll
Yeah.
get you in trouble.
Yes.
Yeah, Grandma didn't show up to your birthday? Ooh, you must have been bad.
So, looks like going off the list right here. It looks like Pamela's not here tonight. And the next person on the list is actually going to be Lori. She's here.
Oh,
Lori Ryland?
Yeah, Lori Ryland.
All right.
Okay,
Skip
there's
ahead.
hers
All right.
on the screen.
Get down this 15 minutes.
all right.
Right?
I'm ready. Okay, we're ready.
Okay. Yeah, we just went through a whole lot of them.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to do another night, another
Yeah.
round. Hi.
Hello.
Good evening.
You just sit right there.
Right here?
Yeah.
The hot seat. Welcome, Lori. Your candidate interview is scheduled for 15 minutes total. You can have 10 minutes to provide an opening statement and answer one question from each council member. Time management during the interview is up to you. You'll be evaluated based on your application and interview responses. If there's a pause between questions, it's because council members are taking notes. If you need a question repeated, please ask. After the interview, you may remain in the chambers for the duration of the remaining interviews if you like, and council will deliberate on the slate of candidates and decide on appointments this evening if everything goes well. So.
I feel like I'm in court.
Hit the gavel.
You're not.
Hit the gavel. Okay.
Will the defendant please rise? No.
Okay, so I didn't really know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So, I guess I'm here to kind of find out what you guys are looking for and exactly what, I know it's the Arts Commission you guys are setting up, which I think is fantastic. I didn't know the format of this.
That's
but
okay.
I
If you like, just
little-
go ahead and tell us about yourself and your background.
Okay, so I've been in the arts since the 70s. I graduated from the Pacific Northwest College of Art and started showing professionally in my second year of college. And I've been a successful professional artist with national recognition, but I've worn a lot of hats. So I've applied for grants, I've written grants, I've gotten I've received grants from the Metropolitan Arts Commission, from the Putnam Foundation, from the Clackamas County Arts Alliance, which is also through the Cultural Coalition, the tourism grant through
Mhm.
Clackamas County. Through the last grant I got, through the last grant I received for, I own and operate LaurieRowland.com Art Studio and Gallery in Sandy, which is really my studio that I open up and I work with kids and adults. So I really got interested in tourism grants. There's a lot of money to be had for cities like ours where there's an influx of people trying to cultivate the tourism. Being an artist in Sandy with my own business in town, I get a lot of people that come from Portland, as far as Bend, Vancouver, the beach, to see our shows and our exhibits. It wouldn't be uncommon for us to have, I know this sounds like a lot of people, but we've been so packed for our exhibits and shows, which we usually do on a year to year and a half average, every year and a half, that you couldn't even get in the gallery, so we've held it over for another month. And people come from all over, so the last grant that I received, which was from the Clackamas County Arts Alliance, they considered myself to be one of the leaders in Clackamas County, and they've encouraged me to apply for grants. But really to do a lot of the grants, because I was really interested in the idea of an art commission for Sandy, and the reason why is because to do a lot of the grants, you have to operate under a non-profit umbrella. And I think there's probably more artists here than anywhere I've ever lived, which is I've lived for 20 years in Orange County, California, which I owned and operated a very successful gallery in Newport Beach. I've also ran a gallery in Beverly Hills, in Santa Monica, so I've really been around. My family's from here, which is how I ended up coming back here. And so I know a lot about the arts business and what it takes to have, a lot of interest in arts. Generates a lot of people, traffic, business. Wherever the arts go, you just have tons of money, basically. I mean, when I first went to California and left Oregon back in the 80s, all the artists went into downtown LA. And so where the artists go, it makes the real estate hot, it makes just people want to go see what's happening. You know, the artist just generates a lot of traffic and money. And so then that area got real hot, and then it got real expensive, so then the artists kept moving. So basically in my life, I've seen where you have a really strong arts community, and it's visible, where people can, just stop their car and get out and go see what's happening. You just have a lot of people stopping to eat, stay at a hotel because they want to make a weekend of it, go shopping, go to all the businesses in town. So the last grant I received was a small grant, but they had $100,000 available to businesses that were looking to enrich the tourism. And because Sandy's on the way to Mount Hood, I mean, we get so many cars. I mean, I cannot believe the traffic every day. And there's a lot of money available for grants to have art festivals in the streets. I mean, if the city wanted to do something like that. I was talking at one point with the city manager, Seth, before Kim became the city manager, about blocking off a couple streets to have art festivals. The thing is it takes a lot of people. It just can't be one little person going out there. It's a really lot of work. And there is money to get through grants to be able to set up all of these things so that...
Sounds like a good job for an arts commission.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and you can get grants that would then feed into the art commission, that then would pay for the manpower that it takes. Because when I first had my studio in Sandy, I had, every month I had Artist Edge meetings. And there's really famous artists that live here, and there's a lot of artists here. And they would all, I got in the paper every month for the events where the artists would come and talk at my studio, and there's writers, there's musicians, there's poets, just all.
Photographers,
Yeah, and photographers. We were getting people that were coming in from Portland to come talk. And there's just a whole community out here. Everybody loves it out here. But the thing is that it takes organization, it takes a team, it takes a city. And when I was talking to the Clackamas County Arts Alliance, they were like, go for it, write up some grants, let's see some things happening, because there's money available. I've been talking to the Best Western, they want to do all kinds of things in conjunction with whatever I could get going, and all the artists that were in town that came from all over to some of our Artist Edge events. We were talking about that, but the thing is it really takes some money from grants, it takes organizations, it takes a team. So I think setting up an arts commission where you have a lot of people involved that are volunteering, but it's a commitment. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then it actually comes up and then they can't do it. It's like a commitment to work for the city and for the community, the business community, to do this. I think this is a fantastic way to go. I'd love to be involved, and I think it's a fabulous thing to give the community, because I think that it would make people stop just to have an arts commission. The city of Estacada, they get every single year for 20 years, they've gotten a grant to do a mural. And not that we have to do a mural every year, but there's just money, and you get a lot of people together that all agree on some good things, and the city says, okay, yeah, we want to see this happening. And it just could be a tremendous thing for the city. And it all begins with an arts commission. And I have been on the design review board for the city of Troutdale before they turned into what they are now, which they used to just be a little railroad track on one side of the town. And I had an art studio, believe it or not, this is a long time ago. This is before I went to Beverly Hills. I went from Troutdale to Beverly Hills and was very successful. And so it's kind of one of those weird kind of stories. But I had a studio in Troutdale, and I was very successful. I got on TV and in the papers, and my artwork got purchased by the city of Portland. I won awards. I was purchased by the city of Washington. So I've worn that artist hat, so I know from being an artist and a gallery person dealing with some of the top gallery. I used to go to New York every year before moving to Sandy. I did this for 10 years. I go to New York every year. I was in the gallery business for 20 years as well as being a professional artist. My work was represented by a gallery. So from being around in the business, professional artists as well as gallery owners, I know art. I know what good art is. I know how to select art and how to do a show. That's why my love is really being around people. And so when I moved to Sandy, I returned kind of more to my family and trying to give back by being with kids. And I go over to the schools and I do career day and stuff. So the thing is that I just think this is a really exciting time, and I can see a lot of things happening, and so that's why I applied.
Okay, can we get to a couple of our questions
Yeah,
now? Although I
sorry,
think you've
but-
probably answered a few of them,
Yeah.
so
But
it may seem a bit redundant, but
well, I guess where I was going was
Mhm.
I started out in Troutdale when they just had the little railroad track and there wasn't any town, and I
Mhm.
was like the only woman on the design review board, and these big corporations wanted to come in there, and it could have just turned out to be this really industrial, with a lot of Chevron companies and industrial kind of area. Instead, they made it really cool
Mhm.
and really artsy. So, and I see Sandy is going in that direction.
Okay.
I love everything that Sandy's
Well,
done.
let me ask the first question,
sure.
okay? And I'm gonna scare the mayor a little bit, because I'll probably embellish a little bit, but, because you've already answered a lot of this first question. But I'd like to make it focused on you. Sounds like you have a very productive and quality business here in the city of Sandy, in the arts area. But the question I have is, please explain why you are interested in serving on the Sandy Arts Commission. And my question is it much about your business as it is about your interests? And, where do you fall in that list?
Well, I don't really see myself, and maybe this is not the right thing to say, as a business in town.
Mhm.
I had a business when I was in California. I had a really lucrative business, being an artist and having a gallery in Newport Beach on Reno Island, which is very rich. And I mean, I slaved and worked as a businesswoman and doing my art and running a gallery. And I was one of the top 10 galleries in Orange County, and I had exclusivity with a lot of artists like Warner Brothers Studios and
But is this
Hollywood.
about your business, or is this about your interest in art? That's what I'm trying to
This
get at.
is where I came from. That's
Okay.
what I've been doing. So when I moved to Sandy, it was really about me doing my art and finding a place to work, and then inviting kids and adults in to kind of work with them, teaching them art. I don't really look at this as a really big lucrative business. This is something I kind of do for fun. I mean, I only charge $35 for an art class. So I'm only there 3 days a week. This is really about me kind of returning to my roots and doing my art kind of out in the woods kind of thing. So, I just bought a new house, and I may do my studio in there. I don't know how long I'm gonna be. When I did my studio in Sandy, I didn't have a place to work. So I started out with this little tiny studio next to the gun shop, and that was gonna be just a place for me to work, and then people started to learn.
That was a
things.
really small space there.
Yeah, it was really
I
tiny.
remember that.
And so when I took Eric's space, really, it was the same idea. I only opened 3 days a week, just from 3 o'clock to 8:30 at night. And the rest of the time, I'm not even open. I mean, I could be open, but it's really about me kind of doing my art and being with my family and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
And I have a studio in my house now, which I didn't have when I first moved here, which in the new house I just bought. So it's not like I now need a studio, but I like being around people, and I'm very interested in the arts, and in the process of being here and being probably one of the most visible artists in the city, just by getting to know everybody. It's a really fun place to be. So for me, this is like a fun thing for me to be doing. I'm at that point in my life where, I can afford to do something like this. I don't want, that's the other, questions when I asked Zachary, well, how many hours would this be a week? I'm not looking for a full-time job.
Okay.
It's a volunteer position in it, and to do something like this could easily be a full-time job. Because it's a art commission group. You could have a group of people that, you could get grants for, that they could all be paid, and they could have a full-time job.
I think you've answered the question.
I just sort of
Appreciate
want
that.
to be supportive and be a
Mhm.
part of it, because I think this would just be really exciting. That's why I moved to Sandy.
All right. Thank you.
So for me, it's not
Alright.
about
Okay.
money.
Oh, sorry. I'll ask the next one.
Yep.
Good. Okay, so I'm gonna jump down the list a little
Yeah,
bit.
just pick one you like.
How would you handle someone being critical about a new public art installation in the community?
Well, I think that's pretty par for the course. There's a lot of critical people in the city and in general in life. A lot of the art that I've got chosen to do, I do things that is probably not very controversial. All of the public installations and the artworks that I've got chosen for throughout Oregon, Washington, and California, people pretty much like. But for the most part, the Percent for Art program and a lot of the grants that go to buy art, they're very controversial. A lot of people don't understand it. Portland, I think, has a pretty good reception. I can see a lot of controversy in Sandy with people not liking it or not agreeing on it. I mean, when I opened my studio at the gun shop next door, everybody said, well, who needs an art gallery? There's just a lot of that. That's why art isn't, I get a lot of I get a lot of grants where the schools actually pay for the kids to work with me in my studio and go through my art program because there isn't art in the schools. And we're lucky Sandy High School has a good art program, but I get kids coming from all over because there isn't art. And so because art's lacking in the school with the education, it's pretty much out there everywhere. Which is why if you have art in Sandy and you have public art installations, you're gonna get a lot of publicity, which is gonna be good for everybody. You know, maybe
Jeremy?
people will stop instead of just driving by. There are 35,000 cars or however many we have a day, and they'll stop to look at the art that recently got bought that maybe there might be controversy because nobody likes it or understands it. And that's pretty much the USA.
So I have a question for you. Have you served or volunteered for a city in any capacity in the past?
Well, the design review board.
For
the city
Troutdale,
of
as you mentioned.
Troutdale.
Any other? That's okay. I mean,
Probably not.
And do you have any experience in different genres of art?
You mean like medias?
Well,
Or
yeah,
like different, like writing?
You're the
or
expert,
something?
so you're gonna you take it how you'd like to.
Well,
I
like
think
there-
we're probably gonna be limited
Well,
in how much
I
feedback
have
we're
9
gonna be.
years of college education. It's
Mhm.
pretty much all in the visual arts.
Right.
And I've set up art schools. In California, I set up the Silverleaf Academy, which was a private school. The guy that owned it was best friends with Sally Ride, and he had millions of dollars. And so he said, the sky's the limit, set up your art program. He paid me a lot of money to set up their whole visual arts program. So that's my expertise, is the visual arts. I'm also a musician,
Mhm.
and but not professionally.
Okay.
And I'm also, I'm a writer of poetry, but not professionally. I appreciate all of the arts. I love the arts.
Okay.
But the visual arts is my expertise, from sculpture, photography, all of the fine arts.
Well, thank you. That's what we're looking for.
And having owned a very successful gallery and representing in Orange County, I had exclusivity with Warner Brothers. I mean, I could rattle off all of the major Hollywood studios. I was the only one in Orange County that had exclusivity. I did that for 5 years. And I represented the blue chip international artists that are normally only shown in galleries in New York. I know art. And that's why I make a good teacher, and I love bringing that to Sandy to the kids, because when I was in Troutdale or in this area, I didn't have that. You know, nobody taught me how to paint or draw. I went to the Pacific Northwest College of Art. They don't really, it's more of just the basic fundamentals. They don't really teach you the craft. You really have to learn that on your own. I really didn't want kids to have to, that's my way of giving back. I don't want to have them have to go through what I went through.
Well, thank you, Lori. Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Clearly, you're very passionate about this. So
Yeah, well,
we're gonna bring in the next one now.
okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for considering me. And I
Yeah.
didn't leave you with this. I should have brought one for everybody.
That's okay. We can pass it around.
All right, that's just kind of a little brief bio. And thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
very
you.
much. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
Bye, Lori.
Bye. Bye.
Wow, I wish I could print stuff like that.
Cool.
You had some more conversations on the intro. You just want us to take the one? Sounds best.
Yeah, I think we'll just do one each.
So 2-minute intro. Say 2-minute intro. And then do a 20 together.
This is, who do we have here? Ah, okay. In order. The way we have them laid out here for us. Excellent. Okay, your candidate interview is scheduled for 15 minutes total. You have 10 minutes to provide an opening statement and answer one question from each council member. Time management during the interview is up to you. You'll be evaluated based on your application and interview responses. If there's a pause between questions, it's because council members are taking notes. If you need a question repeated, please ask. After your interview, you may remain in the chambers here or exit as you wish. Council will deliberate on the slate of candidates and decide on appointments this evening.
That's lovely.
So with that,
Okay, well, I'm fairly new to Sandy. I lived in Gresham for 4 years, and I wanted to live in Clackamas County, so we moved out to Sandy. And my kids actually live just about a mile or 2 away from me, so we do a lot of babysitting. And so I really like Sandy, the small town atmosphere. Gresham was just not my thing. We also have a home in Bend, so that's small town also, so really enjoy that. I worked in Gresham for almost 20 years as I'm a nurse, and I was a manager of a clinic of Multnomah County. So, and I was a manager of dental and WIC and several other things. So, and I'm married, 2 kids. I'm president of Y East Art in Smithfield. Also a member of the Clackamas County Arts Alliance. I'm on their council. I'm involved in Mount Hood Art Online. I'm the board member on there. I've been in several areas because I like to volunteer. And my goal is to tie everything together so I can be part of Sandy, I can do Clackamas and kind of pull all this stuff together. That's my goal.
great.
Thank you.
Jeremy, you want to take the first one this time?
Sure.
Yeah.
How do you believe public art impacts the community?
Oh, big time. And it's unfortunate that the kids are not having art in class night. I just think that's horrible. But anyway, I think I think it really helps kids to understand what everything's all about, and they can tie that together also with any kind of lessons they learn, even math or history or anything. So I think it's really, really important for people to see the art. I mean, that's where people's spirits and happiness and everything comes from. And I just think art's so important, and public art, we just need to, and I wish Sandy was going to be more so in the limelight as far as art. It was many, many years ago, and it kind of fell away, so we're trying to resurrect it.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. How would you handle someone being critical about a new public art installation in the community?
Critical to whom?
To whatever the art was that was portrayed. So controversial subject matter.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
well, you know, Clackamas has its rules. We've had, I did run into this because a gal who does some book excavating, where she cuts out books and stuff, on the front of it, it had a marijuana leaf and a penis. And I said, well, we really don't follow that. We don't like that publicly exposed like that. So that's not something you can put in. Something else would be better. So she did go to more of an educational way. So I kind of already had that happen. And she handled it quite well. It was fine. We had some laughs.
Thank you.
Marcia? Marcia, okay, great. What do you think your strengths are in bringing to the Arts Commission? What makes you strong?
I'm very organized. Like I said, I managed several clinics at one time. I also helped build the Multnomah County, the brand new East Multnomah County building. So I had to pick out carpeting. I had to figure out where the light switches went. I had to figure out where the computer systems were going. I had to figure out how many rugs there is on a seat so you get the best quality of chairs and whatnot. So I've done that before. I'm really organized with any kind of aspects of running anything or doing anything. I think I have an artistic background, so I kind of can speak to that and put that forward. And I don't know, I think that's about it.
Okay, good. All right, thanks.
Okay, what skills, connections, resources, and expertise do you have to offer, and are you willing to use on behalf of an Arts Commission?
Well, as I just stated, that I've done some building. I'd love to help with that, help develop the rooms and who needs water, where we need GFIs, where, you know, any of that sort of thing, storage and whatnot. So I really would be interested in doing that. That's really kind of primary. Secondary is I want to make sure that we have areas for art that are available for people to see. That's my primary.
Okay, you have anything else? Anything in closing you'd like to add?
I think so.
Okay,
No other questions? That's it?
yep.
That's all.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Not
Thank
too
you.
painful.
No, it wasn't one. No. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you.
Hope you survive.
Yeah. Thanks.
Becky Howley, yeah.
2 minutes on the intro. Because you said 10 minutes of a.
Oh, I did. I was reading off of that. So.
Are we gonna be able to select tonight if there's several missing?
Yeah, we can still select.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
get a few of them.
I mean, we may need to, we may want to select a few. We may want to hold out until we interview the rest of them. It's just
because
like,
then we won't be able to look at yeses and nos
Yeah.
for a total number.
Hi.
okay.
Hi.
Just have a seat there.
Sure.
Are you Becky Hawley?
Yes.
Excellent. Welcome, Becky. Hi. Your candidate interview is scheduled for 15 minutes total. You'll have 2 minutes to provide an opening statement and answer one question from each council member. Time management during the interview is up to you. You'll be evaluated based on your application and interview responses. If there's a pause between questions, it is because council members are taking notes. If you need a question repeated, please ask. And after the interview, you may remain in here if you choose, or you can go. Up to you. And council will deliberate on a slate of candidates, and we thought initially we'd decide on appointments this evening, but since everybody's not here, we may hold off for just a bit.
Okay, well, over the years, I have met a number of people in the room, Carrie through the chamber, and I've met Carl over the years on the high school committees and the Sandy Actors at the Sandy Actors Theater, and we bought a photograph from my husband, Rod. I've met you through the Sandy Actors Theater, and I'm sorry I don't know either of you, but I volunteered in for the Sandy Actors Theater, the White East Artisans Guild, the chamber in several capacities over the years, including working with the Main Street Committee when it first started in Sandy, and for the chamber and for the city, I put some of the vacant buildings. We did gallery in the window to make them look inhabited and improve the look of the city. Also, at that time, I had talked to Hollis, who was, McLean, who was at the chamber, about doing a mural on the back of the building where the mural is now, in the plaza. But my proposal was to raise $5,000 and have the community members do it with an artist overseeing the project, and then include adults doing the top in a real graphic way, because it's a real weird block structure. It's not a flat structure. And then have the community kids come in and do the bottom part of it. And the chamber decided to give that project over to the city and not go that route. So I volunteered to be on the committee. Tracy Brown wanted me on that committee, and so I was in on that, and choosing the fountain. I'm thrilled with the fountain.
That was a great choice.
I'm thrilled with the fountain. In my background, you'll see that I was a contractor for a number of years, and so when I look at a project, I'm not just looking at it with one side of my brain. I use both, and being a contractor, I look at things in terms of maintenance and using the proper materials for the job, and how it's going to impact the flow of foot traffic, let's say, or looking at the scale of the project. I'm going to be really honest. When the proposal came in for the current mural that is there now, it looked a little bit like a Where's Waldo, and which looks fine when it's like this big, but there was, everything so small scale that I did encourage, once the pool selected him as the artist, I tried to work toward getting some larger scale items in there, because I felt it was important. I know everyone except Adam out here through just working with artists and businesses in the community. In January or February of 2011, I gave Tracy a proposal for an art committee and suggested that he take a serious look at having a group of people with professional, who could give professional input to things like selecting public art. Oh boy, this sounds so tacky, I'm sorry. I just think the secretarial pool, picking things like that out, is not the best way to go, because if you have an architect or someone who works with scale, you have an idea of what this piece you're looking at right here, how that's going to apply to that big wall. And so I feel like you need a variety of input from people when it comes to projects. And it shouldn't all be just artists, shouldn't all be just people who maybe, I think it's important to have the guy who's gonna have to fix the fountain, look at it, at things, to make sure that it's serviceable. Maybe have the attorney, city attorney, look at possible lawsuits that can happen when you put a creek beside the sidewalk with no way of keeping people to walk into it, which is what one of the proposals was. I just think a broad base of knowledge is important in a thing like this. And I'm ready to take questions.
Okay.
John,
All right, I'll start. How would you handle someone being critical of a new public art installation in the community?
If it's a community member, okay. Art is subjective. You're going to have people who will find fault with every single thing you ever do. And just talking to them one-on-one, I think, is the way I would start, to see what their concerns were. Did they think it was, for instance, a tacky piece of work, or did they think it was historically inaccurate? Or, you know, usually people have an opinion for a reason, and then just see where it goes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Carl?
So this is a little bit of a repeat, but I want to get nailed down into the question. What are your strengths that you think you bring to the commission?
Well, I think having a broad background in, I've been a professional artist since about 2005. I did the mural in I call it the dog spa, the Mount Hood Pet Resort, which was quite a large scale little project for me, and I've done a large mural in at the Barlow Trail trailer park area. I've done some things that give me some knowledge in that type of art, as well as I do paint and have other art interests. So I have some art side of it, and like I said, with my contractor side, I tend to look at things from a little different perspective, like I suggested when we were looking at the fountain, having the guy who has to service it come in and give us an opinion on what he is seeing with the various things that they were offering. So I was a dental technician for 20 years, worked with the public and dentists, and had some knowledge in doing that. In contracting, I was not a builder. Our company did 7-Eleven and Plaid Pantry maintenance from '97 until we sold the business in 2005 and could retire. So I would say all my background lends itself to the various things that I think this committee could use.
Jeremy?
You've answered a lot of the questions we have on the page, so I think you've done a lot of things. Even a dental hygienist or
Dental technician.
Technician,
in
I'm
Crown and
sorry.
Bridge.
It's a form of art as well.
Minuscule carving.
Very good. So, yeah, you've wow, you've answered almost all the questions. Can you give an example of a time where you were a leader of a project? The example can be anything small or large, and it doesn't necessarily have to be work related.
Well, I ran my own businesses since I was in my 20s. So there is that basic background, and had employees and worked with all the permitting and government and accomplishing projects through work. But also the Ant Farm, the Ford Family Foundation sponsored a community project, and I worked on that and was responsible for writing a grant and guiding the completion of that. In that project, we got the trailers and for their recycling project. I was the president of White East Artisans Guild for several years, and set up art sales and venues for showing our art. And oh my gosh, I'm 65 years old. I've been working since I was 17. It's just, over the years I've just done a lot of things. Had a water trucking company and did forest fires for my mother and I for a few years. So I've always had one job, and usually two.
Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, how do you believe public art impacts the community?
I think it impacts the community on a lot of levels. First of all, people who simply do nothing but drive through the community have a chance of looking around and going, I'd like to stop there sometime. Maybe not today, but they're going to have a positive thought about the community when they see it. If you can get people involved in the art project, all those people have a stake in the community. And if you can get kids involved in a project, you have them for a lifetime, basically, because they'll remember a lot of that. In the 80s or late 70s, there was a study done on communities, and Sandy was the shining star of this study, and White East Artisans Guild happened to have been around back then, and it was mentioned. And at that time, tourism, which I think you're all interested in, it has a big can have a big impact on tourism as well. I think that just having a place that everybody can be proud of, and surprisingly, in our experience, knowing that 7-Elevens are vandalized and graffitied all over all the time. There was one Plaid Pantry in Portland that never had a problem with graffiti, and that's because they had a mural on the wall.
Excellent.
It gives people a sense of pride, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you. You have anything in closing?
No.
Okay. Well, thank
If
you.
you have any follow-up questions, you have my email.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Sandy Jordan is next.
Okay. Sounds like there's a party out there. We should be out there.
Oh, you don't get to have fun, right?
Wine
That's
comes
not
with
part-
parties.
Oh,
Or art parties.
Seriously.
And crackers.
I thought that's what we were doing
I
tonight.
think we have a party at our house regularly then.
Oh, this is frightening.
Oh, don't do that, Sandy. You're fine.
Good evening, Sandy. How are you?
evening, I'm just fine, thank you.
Great. I'll read a little thing I'm reading to everybody. It's been changing a little bit, so bear with me here. Your candidate interview scheduled for 15 minutes total. You'll have 2 minutes to provide an opening statement and answer one question from each council member. Time management during the interview is up to you. You'll be evaluated based on your application and interview responses. If there's a pause between questions, it's because council members are taking notes. If you need a question repeated, please ask. After you interview, you may remain in chambers, or you can wait outside or even head home. Up to you. Council will deliberate on the slate of candidates, and originally we were going to decide on some appointments this evening, but there's a number of people missing, so we're probably going to hold off on that till we get a chance to interview everybody. Yeah, so
So, well, I had a business in town for a long time, and I'm at the museum now, but I've always been a part of the arts community and done my own art. And I've tried for many years since I had the store and everything to try to get some art stuff going in Sandy and to create a draw for people since we don't have too much. And that's why I was so excited when we talked about the Pleasantville thing. And I was like, well, yeah. Oh, I see, I called it Pleasantville again. But my vision's always bigger than other people, you know. But to have a street where you can walk from shop to shop with ice cream and stuff, and all along that section, and have art along there, and then where it follows out onto Proctor, and then be across onto Pioneer, wherever you wanted to go. And then as people come into town, because it's a drawing, everybody's heard about Pleasantville, so you need to go there. Then you get a map of the art and what has been done. So you know who did the art and what it is, and you follow your walking map. That's my idea. But anyway, I've thought for a long time, if anything can work, to bring people in and make it great. Because we can have some color, we can have some vibrancy, which we don't have. I mean, the buildings are all great in town, looks nice, but we all blend into each other, you know, we need a little something to break it. Any questions?
yes,
We got 4.
Yep.
Yes.
We'll have 4 for you. Carl, why don't you go first this
Okay.
time?
What are the strengths you bring to the would bring to the Arts Commission? What things that you think would be a good impact on the Arts Commission?
Well, I think I have a good sense of design and color and what a general population would like. You know, it's not just staying a cut above. I don't know how to explain it. I think it just would be able to offer a good eye and good ideas for what I think would really be a good draw and what people would enjoy.
Jeremy?
Yeah. How would you handle someone being critical about new public art installation in the community?
He took your question.
Seriously.
You can ask it too.
No, we can't.
Couldn't find a question last time, so I had to see.
Sorry.
It's okay, I've got a backup question.
Oh, God. That question reminds me of when I first opened the store, and I was fairly new in town, and working with the chamber, and there was an old guy named John that had the coffee shop where the Tovar's was. And I was talking to him about the chamber and stuff. Oh, I don't want any of that damn stuff. You know what? I mean, the old timers, you know, that kind of on and on and on. And so I'm pretty good with talking to people and explaining how things are. And somebody can be critical. No, not everybody's going to love it. You know, it's like if you have 50 people in here, all moms and pops from the area, you know, half of them aren't going to like the ideas. They're going to want skinny rolls or something. But I would talk to them and explain what's happening and why it's happening, and hope that they can learn to enjoy it as much as everybody else. At least you can't make somebody like it. I don't know if I try it.
John?
Should I take the next one before someone else
Yeah,
steals it?
yeah, you better.
There's
take
only
your back.
9 questions.
Oh.
I'll ask this. Do you have experience in different genres of art?
Of my own art, I mean, when I had the store, I've created art my whole life myself. But when I had the store, or in that second section of it, kind of like gallery, I mean, I had people come in all the time with the things that they made, what they did, and I could, if it wasn't right for the store or right for retail, you know, I could help them out, and they appreciated it by explaining what they could do to make it better, to improve it. The art that I do now is at the museum, and part of that mounted art online program to show up there. And so I always do something with the art. If I didn't have to work, I'd be doing it all day.
What type of mediums do you work with?
I started with acrylics, and I've done acrylics, I've done found art. Right now I'm doing alcohol ink on tile. I'm doing the acrylic pours, working with that. I have so many things. I mean, just for one weird thing, when my son was little, I put his rubber pants in the dryer, and they stuck to the dryer, right? Think about it. So I had to peel them off the side, and it was such a beautiful. I took a mat frame, and I put them, because it looked kind of like a fall tree with pieces. And you could believe people walking out and go, "Oh, that's wonderful."
Okay.
So what genre of art would you consider that? Abstract? Abstract?
The rubber pants.
I think it would be abstract.
Thank
So I've been doing all kinds of stuff like that. I see beauty in all different interesting things, from dead plants that have a wonderful flow to them, and maybe one leaf. So it's just all feeling. So, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
How do you believe public art impacts the community?
I think that as it awakens the town, I think as people in the community see more people coming to see their town and to see something in it, they create some excitement and a pride, I believe. You know, because everybody has a tendency to stay in their little hamster wheel, you know, and go to work and go home and do. But if you can create some excitement, and like you know, talking about making a community center out of that building and creating this street and really making it something wonderful that creates the pride, makes other people come in, helps the businesses that are in town. That's where the art along the streets, because you can't get anybody to open a new shop of any kind, you know, Proctor or now. I mean, trust me, I've been there for a long time. There's no draw, you know. I mean, you have to be. I did well because I tried to be bigger than life, and solid lights and fancy stuff, and it was growing. Like it was good. But with the art on the street and people with that want to open a business can see that we're drawing a lot of people in. I think that'd be great for the community. I think it'd be great for
Okay, thank you. Anything else you'd like to share?
well, I think I overshared.
You were very enjoyable.
Thank you.
Made us laugh.
Well, we can always laugh about it.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyway,
All right,
okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Adam Triplett is next.
Okay. Good evening. How are you tonight?
So far, so good. How are you folks?
Oh, good, good.
Well, I heard some laughter. I was using all my best jokes out there. I hope she didn't use all my
I don't think you'll be able to top hers.
Then I won't even try.
All right. Well, your candidate interview here is scheduled for 15 minutes total. You'll have 2 minutes to provide an opening statement, answer one question from each council member. Time management during the interview is up to you. You'll be evaluated based on your application and your interview responses. If there's a pause between questions, it's because council members are taking notes. If you need a question repeated, please ask. After your interview, you may remain in here or go back out to telling jokes or head home, whichever, whatever you like. And originally, we were going to deliberate on the slate of candidates and decide on appointments tonight, but since there's so many of them missing, we're going to postpone the decisions on that.
Okay.
So, with that.
Well, thanks for having me. My name is Adam Triplett. I've lived in Sandy since 2006. I was born and raised in a little town, much like Sandy, actually a bit smaller than Sandy, called Hamlin in West Virginia. I moved to Oregon in 1997 and spent about a decade in Portland with my now wife. Her family lived in Sandy, and we were always visiting, and it just really resonated with me. I enjoyed the lights and music of Portland, so to speak, but it was someplace I always wanted to get back to. Inevitably, the housing market came and went and did what it did, and fortuitously, we landed in Sandy. Bought a home in 2008 on Barco, and now we have 3 little kids. I'm a stay-at-home dad currently for the past 3 years, but before that I was a welder fabricator down in the industrial park, which is how I know you,
Yep.
Mr. King. Worked on my car a few times, actually several times, but not because of fabricator. Anyway,
It's a good double dance.
so yeah, thank you. I felt a little bit. I was like, wait a minute. I'm trying to get this position. Recently I saw that there was a call for this council, and I have an extensive art background. I went to college, I've done painting, I've sculpture, mixed media. I've always had a love for arts. I've worked at the Portland Art Museum. I am not currently a working or professional artist. However, I'm seeking a new career path. I'm studying the art of tattooing at a certified Oregon State school to do so, and I have a job kind of waiting for me in Portland in a family business. I've seen Sandy grow and evolve over the past 18 years that I've been visiting and now a resident of. And I can see that there's an identity trying to be achieved or attained here, an aesthetic, if you will. And I think that we're on the right track. We need more art. Art is a wonderful reflection of a culture, a society. I think if you want to know about a certain type of people, you want to see what kind of art they're making. And I think that the art that a town provides publicly and privately is a good reflection of that identity of the town. And so I am hoping to just maybe take my first foray into some public service and volunteer and sit on a council, see how it all operates, and maybe give my expertise or just experience in the arts and aesthetics. So,
Fantastic.
sure.
Ready for a few questions?
Absolutely.
All right. Jeremy?
All right. Let's
Choose
see.
wisely.
Choose wisely. I took his question last time.
I'll get it back.
Can you give an example of a time where you were a leader of a project? The example can be anything small or large, and it doesn't necessarily have to be work-related.
I'm a member of the Sandy Masonic Lodge, and every year we raise money for scholarships, and we give 2 to Estacada and 2 to Sandy High School, and I was able to facilitate in getting those scholarships from $500 to $1,000 this year. And I also help manage and run the little sausage stand that we have that you may or may not have had our fancy sausages at the Sandy Mountain Festival every year. So those go to each a boy and a girl. And I was also on that committee for selecting those scholarships. And there's a lot of overachievers in this area, I must say. So.
Some good kids out there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
John?
How would you handle someone being critical about a new public art installation in the community?
Well, as we all know, people will complain about anything and everything.
And on Facebook.
Well, you know, exactly. And the best thing to do in that situation is, you know, I'm very open-minded. And to a fault, I like people. So I like to engage with people and see maybe what they would have done, what they didn't like about it. But first and foremost, it's like, people always want to tell you what they don't like about something. Immediately, they'll do that. I like to find out, well, what do you like about them? Well, you know, and find a way to find common ground with that person to see what maybe that they could, you know, maybe change their opinion about it or educate them about why this piece of art was chosen. And if sometimes there's just no pleasing anybody. But in that case, you know, always encourage them to maybe come and be a part of something like this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent response. Carl?
How do you believe that public art affects the community?
Well, as I said before, you know, it's certainly a reflection of, you know, our culture and identity as a town. And I think people really want it to represent them. And thus far, I think there could be a lot more art in this town. But I think, you know, for instance, the salmon, the mural, I mean, it's Northwesty, I think it's homey, it's folky enough, and it's not so strange or bizarre that people can't relate to it. It's very accessible. So I think that people want something that everyone can understand and access, basically, from an aesthetic point of view.
Geez, you've answered almost all the other questions already.
Yes.
Yeah, they were telling me what. No, I'm kidding.
I'll ask the last one down here. It's do you have the time to be on this arts commission?
I like to think I do. You know, here's what I told my wife last night: is you want something done, give it to a busy person, and I'm extremely busy. So those people, much like myself, will always find a way to make the things that they prioritize out. And art is extremely important to me, and I would love to be able to give the time to that. So yes.
Excellent. And you have anything else for us?
No,
We'll wrap
I
up?
appreciate you guys having me here. I like the forum. I like that it's set up this way. It's kind of gets the inner workings of the city of Sandy,
Sure.
and you know, makes me feel like a little bit important.
Our volunteers are very important.
Relish it.
Yeah, right. So, but do you guys have any more questions for me?
No, sir.
Great.
Good, yeah.
Well, I have little ones to put to bed, so
Okay.
I'm going to head home and do that. But it was really a pleasure to speak to you all. So.
Right.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
too.
very much.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah, I'll hear from you soon.
Yep.
You got one more?
No, that's it.
That's it?
Oh, I thought we had.
Yeah.
Actually, quite a few guys.
Everybody else is
They
either
don't
out
have
of
to
town,
do
sick,
that.
or unable to come.
Okay. Is Zach going to let him know that we were going to hold off on our
Yeah.
decisions? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I'll make sure.
Comment.
Yes.
If we get like the rest of the council in here, there's going to be some concern from me about how they perceive them differently than we do. So I would kind of like to see the four of us.
Yeah, I think we
think it
should
through.
stick with the 4 people who've started out already, and then
Yeah.
when we finish it up, we wrap it up. That way we have the same people have interviewed everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, that way it's
Would
fair.
you like maybe a doodle poll to see when the 4 of you are available?
Sure.
Yep.
That'll work.
Works for me.
Sure.
Doodle us.
I'll doodle you.
She's
Before the
addicted
next,
me to doodle. I do that
Sometime-
for a
I
lot
mean,
of people now.
Yeah.
the 4 of us are
I'm a
usually
doodler.
here or available before council meetings too. So
Yeah.
even if it
Oh,
Yeah, we
good
could
idea.
also,
Yeah.
so there'd be,
like a
how many left? There'd be,
person workshop.
4
Yeah,
more?
we
5
can-
more?
Quite a few.
So we
Yeah.
had 5 and we have 5 more to go?
I don't know that.
We're
The
fine.
last one decided that she does not have a time commitment.
Okay.
The
Oh.
Karen, she's.
So
not
she's a
gonna-
scratch.
she's
So we
not
have
gonna
4
be-
more to go.
Okay.
We could do that in an hour.
Oh, yeah, I think.
6 o'clock
Totally.
workshop.
Okay,
Yeah,
Cool.
we could do it before council meeting then.
you wanna do it before the next council meeting on the 17th, if we can.
If everybody,
If
if
they're
everybody
available.
can make it, that
That
works
might be
for
a
me.
little short notice for them.
I can send an email out, but, see what happens.
If it
Or we could do
Six
it
does, then we can do it on another.
Yeah, if not, we can,
On the
we can do
first.
another evening.
Yeah.
Tuesday night or
first,
something.
October 1st.
Okay. I'll put it in.
Let's try the first.
So I'd love to get this wrapped up and not leave these folks hanging.
Yes.
Yeah. 'Cause the longer we leave them hanging, the more they're gonna wonder if they made it or not.
Can we give these back to you for now?
Yes, absolutely. Did you put your name on? Which one is it?
They are. Just use your scoring sheet as the top sheet.
Yep.
And we're all set. Flip them up. Okay.